I wonder if it's time to possibly pump the brakes on Kyle Schwarber. Not just dropped in the lineup, but do we have to pump the brakes on the idea that he actually gets demoted? Now, he hit seventh today against the Cardinals, the first time Schwarbs was in the starting lineup outside of the top three in the lineup all season. The Cubs pinch hit for Schwarber with the bases loaded in the sixth inning. Now, they did end that six-game skid by beating St. Louis today, but there's been a lot of talk about this. Do you think Madden, and I know they love him, and Theo and everybody upstairs, they love this guy. Do you think there's a real chance he could get demoted?
Well, last week this was a topic too. We kind of discussed it a little bit. And the slide just continues for Schwarber. Last week I was like, not yet. I don't think it's time to hit the panic button yet. But the 163 is just glaring. And what other player hitting 163 would stick around at the major league level? You're starting to see the signs, him dropped into the batting order. Even when you listen to call and talk radio in Chicago, fans are starting to chirp and a little bit louder now that because the Cubs are still not in first place, you start to pick apart that roster and that lineup. And Schwarber is definitely a guy that right now is sinking that lineup.
It's amazing that here we are 2 months into the season.
Yeah.
Right? And at the beginning of the year, you've said, well, Schwarber for name your top front-end starter, and you can make that deal. And now his trade value, if there is any left, it looks like it's plummeted to the point that you're talking about a demotion. We saw this with Yasiel Puig last year. Dodgers put him down to AAA. It looks like he's rebounded nicely. Randall Grichuk has been sent all the way down to single A. So do you think mentally when you see the other guys, big names, get dropped all the way down, that it might not hurt Schwarber and that he can come back and be the same guy?
It's a delicate situation because we forget how young he still is.
Right.
I mean, he's not even played a full 162-game schedule yet in his career. You just kind of piece the two seasons together. The thing that keeps him hanging on, he's such a fan favorite. Did so much for the franchise in October and obviously in the World Series. And what a remarkable storybook postseason that he had. But you're still waiting, like I said last week, you're still waiting for the guy that a scout described as Babe Ruth when he saw him. He wrote Babe Ruth in the same sentence as this guy. And Schwarber is just having a hard time right now. And perhaps a trip down to Iowa could be just what the doctor ordered. Here's another thing, too. You don't want too many distractions at once.
No.
The Cubs are struggling right now. I mean, they won today, but they struggled on the West Coast. He's struggling. You're going to be approaching the trade deadline and the All-Star break before long. I mean, how many things can you spin and juggle at one time?
And you don't want him
this
to
may
feel
be a
like,
decision that has to happen in the next week or two.
And you don't want Schwarber to feel like, oh, we're sending you down kind of as a way to say to the fans, you're the reason why we've struggled. You hate to put that on him.
Yeah.
We know they do love him. You're right. We'll figure out if he can bounce back, or maybe a little trip to the minors could be exactly what the doctor ordered.